Hi guys, welcome back to my living room floor and to this year's Imperial Army and Navy video of 2025. And quite a lot has happened to the 87th Task Force, which is all gathered over here. And in today's video, Commander Kel Karras, the leader of my entire Imperial Army and Navy, has gotten a visit from Lord Vader himself, the highest commander of the Imperial forces. And they have been arriving in my UCS Sentinel class shuttle, along with some ISB officers and some shadow troopers. Well, that kind of sets the scene for this year's Imperial Army video, and that is the reason why Kel Karras has put his entire unit on parade for Lord Vader's arrival. And in this video, I'll go over all the minifigures, the new addition to the task force in the form of new vehicles and ships. But let's start off with some statistics. And I had to write this all down because it was quite a hassle to count everything. So, my entire Imperial Army and Navy over here consists of 275 minifigures. And out of that, 246 make up the bulk of the force, being the 87th Task Force. The 87th Task Force has a naval component, which is where it all started, with its 5 ship crews, and they consist of 88 minifigures, along with the fighter wing squadron. Then we have the ground component, which has been growing the most recently, and they consist of 158 minifigures. Then we have the 28 miscellaneous minifigures over here, and then some in the parade as well. The ground component has 2 companies with 4 platoons, but we'll start off over here. Here we have the 1st Armored Platoon, which I've showed you in previous years, but they have gotten a new vehicle of choice. I removed the Mod T from their main vehicle to the new ITT instead, because I think it looks a lot more clean to have the ITT and Marauder looking vehicles next to each other. So they all go in that in the Armored Platoon, while the Mod T now has to take on more of a logistic role, or for really tough environments, they can have that as the vehicle of choice, of course. Then we have the 2nd Airborne Platoon, which is over here, and they all go in the Imperial Dropship Transport, the LAT LE, or my Imperial Battle Pack dropships. Then we move along towards the 3rd Platoon, which is a light infantry platoon over here. And they use all the smaller crafts and utilities that you might need. So they go in the Imperial Patrol Transports, and they use some of their E-webs they bring with them to entrench their positions instead. And the new for this year is the 4th Platoon, which is also a light infantry platoon, but they either go in the same vehicles as the light infantry platoon, or they serve as a more of a guard or garrison force for the Sentinel class shuttle. Then we have the logistics platoon, which is a really important part of the 1st company, which is a combined arms company. And they have all their scout troopers, their vehicle drivers, medics, and kind of logistic troopers with them. An important part of the first company. Then we have a bit smaller second company, which is my Walker company. And they consist of my Imperial Galactic Marines and my Imperial Airborne Drop Troopers. They all go in the UCS 8080, as well as the 80ST, 80IS, and the 80RT. So they're only using Walkers to keep the same pace. Then here is their little logistics squad or platoon with some 8080 drivers, 80ST drivers, gunners, and their own little squad of scout troopers, as well as a reconnaissance droid. Then we'll go over the naval part instead, where we have the crew that started it all, the crew of the Presence, which is the oldest corvette in my task force. We have the crew of the Iniquitous, the flagship of the naval units. Then we have the crew of the Dominant, the Planet Assault Ship, parked over there in the corner. We have last year's new crew, which was the crew of the Dependable, the heavy freighter of the task force, with the old quartermaster of the Iniquitous being promoted to captain of the Dependable. Then we have the newest crew for this year, which is the crew of the Irascible, which is the new patrol corvette that I built this year. Here we have all their crew members. They go over here in the Irascible. Then we have the Fighter Wing Squadron, which has both transport pilots, but also TIE fighter pilots for all of the fighters in the craft. And they got a little addition with the new transport pilots that pilot the Sentinel class shuttle. Then over here we have all the miscellaneous minifigures with Grand Admiral Thrawn, Moff Gideon, Vice Admiral Sloane, Darth Vader, all my extra Darth Vaders. We got Inferno Squad, some Dark Troopers, my ISB agents, some Praetorian Guards, and a little zombie stormtrooper, which I'm a bit excited for the new battle pack. Might pick it up, but I also don't want a full army of zombie stormtroopers. So I guess I'm a bit divided on my opinions on that. Well, that is it for the minifigures. Let's give you a little showcase over here. And let's move on towards the vehicles. And we'll start off over here where I had some guns to outfit all my troopers. We have the trusty E-webs. We have some small utilitarian vehicles that are usually placed within the hulls of the ships. Some crates, some speeders, especially for my recon squad in the 8080. My Imperial hover transport, my speeder with sidecar, my Imperial patrol transport, which is a very popular speeder of mine, especially on my Rebrickable, that you guys seem to like. We have the Imperial logistics speeder, an occupier tank, the new ITT for this year, which is, well, a pretty cool little build that I'm happy with. We have my old trustworthy Marauders that have been the backbone of my task force for quite some time. Got the modular transport, my LIST, my Imperial artillery speeder. Then we have the Imperial AA Walker, which I believe didn't quite make it into last year's video. So I'll give it a little shout out over here since it's a really cool walker and a cool anti-air defense for the Imperial forces. Well, as you saw in the beginning, we of course have the mighty Sentinel-class shuttle, which is a proud possession of mine. We got the dropship transport. We got some smaller dropships, including the medic dropship. We have my modified ATST. And then we have all the fighter craft, or the TIE series of ships, with TIE fighters, interceptors, bombers, and my TIE shuttle. Then we have the alt build I made for the last year's Imperial Trooper versus Rebel Trooper battle pack, which I turned into a kind of special forces transport. We have a V-wing. We have the flagship of the Navy, the Iniquitous. My vehicle dropship that can deliver some Marauders and ITTs perhaps to the battlefield. The Dependable being parked here behind the Sentinel without its crates. They're over here. Then we have the mighty UCS 8080. And then we have the Dominant, the Presence, and this year's the Irascible, which is also a new addition to the task force. And to note is that if you want a further walkthrough of the vehicles, you can just find the videos over on my channel, where I have made videos about all my mocks and ships. And that's also the fun part of building an army such as this one. It's that I hardly ever have just original sets. I try to modify them the way I like, and then I also build all the ships that I believe that Lego is lacking or haven't released. So that's the fun part with my 87th task force. Let's give you a quick little overview again of the minifigures. And I'll just let you know that I'm happy for all of you supporting the channel over the years. And I hope you enjoyed this year's Army video and Navy as well. If you did, do leave a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.